All right, today we're jumping into a really challenging topic, the crisis in men's mental health. We're going to break down the perspective from the YouTube channel Extreme Men, which asks a pretty tough question. What if the very systems we've built to help men are actually failing them?
So let's kick things off with a number that really hits you. The source we're looking at points out that in Spain alone, more than 3,000 men die by suicide every single year. And they stress that this isn't just a fraction, it's the vast majority of all suicides in the country. This statistic is basically the starting block for their entire argument.
And that huge number really begs the question, right? If we're told we live in a world that favors men, a patriarchy, then why are so many of them facing this silent epidemic of utter despair?
Okay, so first up, let's dig into how the source sees the sheer scale of this crisis, and more importantly, why they believe the conventional solutions just aren't working.
Now here's where it gets really controversial. The source brings up statistics like this one, suggesting that an overwhelming number of middle-aged men who die by suicide have actually been to therapy. They use this to basically ask, hey, maybe the very thing we think is the cure is actually part of the problem.
So if therapy isn't the answer, then what's going on? Well, this leads us to the absolute core of their argument, that modern mental health care is fundamentally built for a different kind of brain.
See, their whole argument really hinges on this idea. They propose that men are inherently action-oriented. They see a problem, they want to know, how do I fix this? Therapy, on the other hand, is built around verbalization, talking it out, a model they argue that's much better suited to how women tend to process their emotions.
And their critique gets even sharper. They get pretty cynical, suggesting that therapy is set up like a business. Think about it. From this point of view, the goal isn't to cure you and lose a customer. The financial incentive is to keep you coming back, week after week.
This is where they drop a key term, gynocentric, meaning female-centered. They're arguing the entire system is built to just validate how you feel, to nod along and offer empathy. But for a man who's looking for a tool, for a plan of action, they contend this feels useless. It's like asking for a wrench and getting a flower instead.
Now, on top of this problem with therapy, the source says there are these massive societal pressures that just make everything 1,000 times worse.
And they have this really potent metaphor for it, the man on the white horse. You know the one. The idea that your family, everyone around you, doesn't just want a provider. They need you to be this perfect, unbreakable hero who fights all the dragons silently and never, ever falls off his horse.
And this white horse mandate comes with a whole rulebook, doesn't it? Be the strong one. Never show weakness. Provide for everybody. Don't complain. You have to be the rock for everyone else, even when you're crumbling inside. And that's the central paradox they point to. This pressure to be invincible is the very thing that makes men so incredibly, deeply vulnerable and isolated.
This leads to what the source calls the ultimate trap. Society is constantly saying, open up, be vulnerable. But they claim that the second a man actually does, especially to his partner, poof, the white horse illusion is shattered. They argue it can lead to a devastating loss of attraction and respect. It's a total catch-22.
So you're caught between this mandate to be a rock and the trap of showing any cracks. The result, according to the source, is this profound, almost inescapable loneliness.
From their point of view, this loneliness leads to a really harsh awakening. It's that moment of clarity when a man realizes, wow, I am completely on my own here. No one's riding in to save the day. You have to face it all yourself.
And the isolation isn't just individual. They argue that whenever men try to get together to create their own support systems, their own spaces, society often attacks and demonizes them. So you're not just blocked from getting help one-on-one, you're blocked from getting it as a group too.
Okay, so if therapy is a feminine design and society is a trap, what's left? Well, the source does propose a path forward, and it's all about action, not talking.
They lay out this three-step plan, what they call a true man's therapy. And it's not about looking inward, it's about looking outward. First, find a purpose that makes you feel essential. Second, serve others. Get your mind off your own issues by helping someone else with theirs. And third, find a real brotherhood with other men who actually get what you're going through.
And to back this all up, they share this pretty powerful historical anecdote. They talk about UK veterans from World War I, men who were just completely shattered by trauma. And they claim what cured them wasn't therapy, but being given a new, vital mission, serving as firefighters during the Blitz in World War II. That sense of purpose, they argue, is the most powerful medicine there is.
So in the end, the source leaves us with this really stark choice. Is the problem a lack of talking or a lack of acting? They pit the modern therapeutic model against what they see as a more traditional, masculine solution of purpose and service. And they make it pretty clear which side they're on, which really leaves us all to wonder, where does the true solution to this crisis actually lie?